Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wicker Biscuit.
Boy, oh boy, are you in for a treat.
I know that this was a fun one to make.
Yes, we were all getting a little more comfortable by this episode and finding our rhythm.
What's with this we shit? You were not there, Amanda.
Well, I was there in spirit. I had very important things going on at that time, as you will hear in the pod.
True.
The biggest change that we have now is we have a way for you to shout back at us.
Now, you can reach out to us with any feedback or show ideas or things you really want for Christmas. I can't make any promises, but at least we can put in a good word with St. Nick.
And if St. Nick's not around, we can just reach out to the elves directly. We all know it's really the elves who are the brains of the operation. Santa's basically just eye candy.
Unlike Santa, you won't be able to use snail mail to reach us, but you can email us at wickerbiscuit@gmail.com. Also, we have our Facebook page and our Instagram page. For every episode, we'll have a corresponding post where we put links and pictures and any other media that we reference in the episode so you can see what we're talking about. Links to the Facebook page and the Instagram page will be posted in the show notes. Please subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything Wicker Biscuit.
Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome! Oh, feels good to be back again! Starting out the pod, nice and fresh. And first I'm going to start with introduction. So who do we have here?
Hey, it's Carl this evening.
We got Carl. Who else we got?
Ryan.
Ooh, who else?
I was gonna say something clever, and then it just didn't come to me. So
I was like on pins and needles. This is Courtney.
Hey, Courtney.
And Tiffany.
And Tiffany. So we got a small crew tonight.
Who are you?
Well, I'm Gary. Thank you. Oh, Jesus.
It's really important to
You know what?
always,
It
recognize
is.
yourself.
I appreciate that. I don't want to be left out. So you know what? Thank you guys for bringing me all in. Let's start this out with just some chit chat. How is everyone?
Kind of good. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Can't complain too much.
Gosh, it's so funny. Like when we start to get ready for these, we always kind of have a concept, but then we kind of chit chat about like the day. We have some silly stuff.
Yeah.
And then we talk about adult stuff.
Well, let me tell
and then
you.
we come around to silly stuff again.
Yeah.
So.
Let me tell you my fun, silly thing that I've been dying to share with you guys.
Ooh.
So today, before the pod, I stopped at Burger King to get some supper for me and Seth. So I went to Walmart and I got this nifty table. So I'm really excited about this table. Oh. But then also, I'm like, let's go to Burger King. And the ladies, she goes, okay, here's your drinks. And now it's going to be a wait because there's a wait on the chicken nuggets. And to me, I don't care. But right away, she like pulls out these Burger King crowns. And she's like, here you go. As if to give me that for the wait. I'm like, is that a thing now? To apologize for the wait? I'm going to give you a Burger King crown? And then I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm an adult lady. But then I'm also thinking, how the fuck did you know I wanted a crown? So
Last time we went, Ryan got a crown.
I did.
But it oddly did. At first I thought it was ridiculous, and there was this whole loop of thinking it's ridiculous, then thinking it's great, and then thinking it actually did make me happier that I have to wait and I get a crown.
I honestly have no problem with the fact that so many companies are trying to market to our age group. Yeah, with like nostalgia stuff, like Burger King looks like the Burger King of our childhood again. I think good.
Yeah,
that makes me happy.
But that was my thing. It was random. It was weird, but it made me smile, and I just thought I'd share that with you guys. So I got 2 Burger King crowns upstairs. I'm stoked. Oh, anything else that you guys have fun come up that you want to share?
I just had a huge yawn, but I'm okay.
I mean, I have a buttered biscuit.
No. Biscuits are for later. This is just general.
Save your
I know,
biscuit.
but I have another one, a story today.
Let's hear it.
So it's Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes.
So they bring us cookies and cake and all kinds of stuff. But today they brought in a bus, a pizza bus.
Oh.
It's like a oven pizza, but I don't know. Either way,
It's like a food truck, but in a bus.
Yeah,
okay.
A red bus.
A red bus.
That was very distracting for my students all day. Anyway, so I go down to get my pizza, and the lady working inside it says, "Oh, I've heard about you." What? And immediately, hi. And then they're like, "Oh, this is so and so's mom." Oh. I was like, "Oh, great, he's a great kid. Love this kid." And she goes, "He loves you." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet. That's so nice." She's like, "He loves you because you roast the kids." And I was like,
"That's awesome."
I don't really remember roasting that kid, but all right. Yeah, by far my favorite compliment I've ever gotten from a parent.
You know what though? There were teachers that like either they were young enough to see through all the bullshit or they were old enough to see through all the bullshit, because I had a teacher in 6th grade. There was a girl who, it was weird because a lot of my bullies in middle school were girls, because I don't know if they just,
Oh, I think that makes sense, to be honest.
they would, this one girl, one day specifically, she kept walking behind me and going, faggot.
Ugh.
So like the 3rd time I elbowed her and she was like, ah! And she went up to the teacher and she's like, Ryan hit me. And he's like, who hit you? And I just said I did, because I was going to say, and this is why. And before I even had a chance, he goes, oh, good. Did she deserve it? Because he knew she was a little bully. And so he was like, he's not gonna. And she's like, I'm going to go down to the office and get you fired. And he's like, all right, you a hall pass. Because it was like, what are you going to do, little bully girl? And then she moved away and I never got to like see her get hers and whatever. But
We'll bleep it, but just tell me who it was.
you know,
I don't.
Well,
I could guess, but...
it was a guy, an old man, and you knew his
No,
daughter.
I know the teacher. I'm talking the kid.
Oh, I don't think you know her.
Okay. No, I know it was...
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I
no.
just think like teachers who teach the kids how to be held accountable.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
I think that's one of the greatest lessons of going from youth to adult is you have to know what your words and actions can have, like they can have an impact. And even like the most flippant, menial thing can have such a ripple on everything.
But it's actually a good segue into our
It
It is a good
Yeah.
segue. So the topic for today is things that surprised you about getting older. Or another way of putting it is things if we told you when you were a kid, like, hey, this is what getting old is really like, you'd be like, what the heck? Don't sign me up for that crap. Anyway, Carl, would you like to start us off?
Oh, it's funny because like I was thinking. Obviously, we talk about getting older, and Ryan and I always say like there's stuff that we never knew. Like no one told us this part of getting old. But I guess I was thinking.
And let's just say we're using the term old relatively, because
Yeah.
we're not super old, but we are
no.
well
Late
into our
30s.
adulthoods.
Yeah.
Early 40s.
We're all
Yeah.
dancing that line of 40. We'll just
Yeah.
put it at that.
And for us that do consider ourselves the Zennials of that kind of thing, I was thinking some of my things might like date us, but thinking about my childhood or thinking about going into adulthood. But I've been doing a lot of interviews lately for hiring for my place of employment. And
Okay, so not going to interviews, but actually you're conducting
I'm
them?
conducting the
Yeah.
interviews. But it was interesting because I'm interviewing people, but I'm also working with people. And you start talking about aspects of the job, and you start looking at people's resumes, and you start thinking about how times have changed just in such a short period of time. We've gone to such a computer, desktop, laptop, even tablet, phone-based system that, I think back, we were talking yesterday as I was preparing for today's interview about just the idea of punching in at your desk. And one of the other employees had said, Carl, it's kind of a bummer. I never got to use a punch card. Like I never got to use the time clock. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did. Like my first job at a Dairy Queen, we had a time clock that you'd actually punch the card in. And I honestly think the first year that I actually worked for Sears back in the day, we had those before we went to like a swipe card. But it's just so crazy to think like I've been in the workforce for, 20 plus years. And this kid had this dream of what that work would look like. And you like picture cartoons and
Big thing of what I talk about with being an adult and how much of I don't know if all adults go through this, but like when you're a child, you see the adult world. And when you get to be an adult, that adult world no longer exists. Mm-hmm. So you never really feel like you achieve adulthood because never got to punch a time clock like my mom did or, stuff like that. And that kind of, I think, is partly why our generation always says, like, I don't really feel like a grown-up. I thought there was a point where you're like, hey, this is adulthood and now I'm a grown-up and I know all the stuff. And it's like, no, it never happens. Apparently all the adults ahead of us could fake it really well.
Yeah, they didn't know what was going on either.
Well, but also think of like how fast things have changed now. Like,
Oh, yeah.
in the 1800s, it didn't change that fast.
Sure.
Farming was farming for
A long
quite
time.
a while. And then in my dad's youth, we went from landing on the moon to having computing power that can do that in a key fob.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl, I love the way your brain works.
Same.
I do, because you take things from such a different view than from what I did.
Oh my God. Sometimes it drives me crazy.
But I love it. I love, because having these people around us is what makes the world better. You get a more well-rounded view of everything. Things that I wouldn't have thought of, you bring up. And I just wanted to compliment what you bring to the pod.
No, it's amazing because sometimes we'll be watching something together and then I will say something about it and his response makes sense, but it's so out of left field of what I just said. And it's like,
How did you
you're on a
get there?
Like, I think we are just opposite brained. So sometimes it's just his response. I'm like, what? I mean, yeah, but what?
Because I didn't think about any sort of like work stuff and like the skills change, but you're so right. It's crazy how different.
I always like looking at the whole forest.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
I-
a big
Like,
picture guy.
I am,
I think
yeah.
sometimes people don't have the sympathy for other generations too. Like, there's always progress, but like we've kind of leapfrogged in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And so the idea that like our parents or our grandparents, yeah, they're confused because I think about this even with just basic, like say you have a laptop and you have the same laptop for 10 years and you get a new one. There have been so many weird mini steps forward, but if you skip those 10 steps, it's like I have no clue how this works anymore, even though icons on things and like with phones and not having buttons anymore.
Oh yeah.
It's like the things that are just symbols now. It's like, but if you missed the 2 steps that got from the word to the symbol, you're lost. You're like, I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah. Like in the early days of the laptop, people that saw the trackpad, they're like, "What? I know what a mouse is. I'm not an idiot, but what is this?" But yeah, and now everybody just looks at a trackpad and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a trackpad." And you can buy a trackpad for a desktop that just sits separate. And
I will also say that I think that because of where we're at and the technology changing, it makes us more adaptable to technology changes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Because I am a person, and I think a lot of my peers in this age range are, that will just try to push buttons until I figure it out.
That is the
Yep.
comment I actually made yesterday when I was thinking about interviewing someone. I said, I know what I want to do. So if I can figure that out, that is where I get through technology now. Like if I know what I want to accomplish, that's where I'll play around with the tools. I'll get help from someone who is familiar with it. I won't just sit there and go, oh my gosh, I can't figure this out. Like to me, I want to be engaged with technology, but for me, it has to be purposeful because I don't think that I'm just regularly kind of geared for that.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it's like when my mom or dad calls and they're like, my mom called me last week. I accidentally archived the message and it's for a call and we need to return it. I don't know what I did. And like, I had no idea what to do. So I opened up my own phone and I went to the thing and I was like, oh, just blah, 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 blah. She's like, how do you know that? I was like, I just tried it.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just try it?
You know, it's funny too, with changing technology. I've heard about a thing on like the TikTok world called the millennial pause.
Oh, yeah.
And they think it's so funny that people our age, like when we start recording, we always wait like a second before we start. And I think I can tell you exactly why. Because when I used to record with my videotape camera, when you hit record, it didn't just start recording. You had to wait a second for it to start. And if you were doing like a music video and you needed it to match up, you had to like incorporate for that second. So it's so funny to me that there's just physical evidence of, yeah, because that's how we learned to record stuff. You had to like press it and then like the wheel had to turn for a second. And you're like, okay, now record. Because you'd tell your friends all the time, well, let me push the button or wait a second before you start talking or it's going to cut off the beginning. In fact, I try not to do the pause when I do a TikTok, and usually I misses part of it. So like, I still need it. I don't care what these young kids say.
You should make an extra long millennial pause. That should be your
just
thing.
like, you know what?
well, longer than that. Just stretch it. Just
It's a 3-minute TikTok, and I'll do 2 minutes of just sitting there.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
I think it's a good time to transition to the next one. Ryan, do you got something for us?
All right. So one thing you could have told young child Ryan about being an adult that I would not have believed would be that someday you're going to have a lot harder time being comfortable. Because I think back to being a kid and like even a teenager and watching a movie, and I could like sit in a folding chair sideways in my bedroom, because the way my bedroom was set up, I had a really big long dresser and my TV was on the end, and I had a folding chair on the end of it between like the wall, and I could sit there and like like 2 friends sitting on my bed, and we'd watch a whole movie that way. I can't imagine sitting upright or and I need to like lay back. I need to be cushioned. I need to be all comfy.
Do you remember like hanging upside down with your like legs over something, but like
Watching.
your back against the front of a couch or front of a chair or something? Yeah, I don't think I can do
Yes.
that either.
And I told Gary earlier, like I would lay on the floor in the living room with a mirror and watch TV through the mirror because I thought that was fun. And like just with my head tilted up, and it's like that would never fly now. I'd be so sore after 10 minutes. Like, oh, my neck. Oh,
Well,
I think-
who would have thought vertigo would be such a thing? Like, as you're saying all this, I'm like, I'd be dizzy. I'd be all done. I'd be checked out. I'd be passing out. No.
well, and what other thing that I've really kind of thought about, it kind of works in with that too, is how much harder as an adult it is to like, if I'm laying in bed and I turn the TV on, I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie, I will fall asleep.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's so easy to fall asleep now. And I think teenager, I could sit and watch like 3 movies until 3 a.m. and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now.
I struggle in Zoom meetings, man. Yeah.
It's just so weird because I feel like all the stuff you're not allowed to do as a child, like stay up as late as you want. When you can do it, you can't do it. Like you physically can't do it anymore. And it's just the riddle of the whole human existence. It's like all the stuff you want to do as a kid, you're not allowed to do. And then when you are allowed to do it because you're a grown up, you can't do it anymore. And it's just like,
Bummer.
I think about before you continue. It made me think about like at our old house with the old couches. There's so many times we sat on the floor watching TV. We were watching a movie or something.
Squeaky chair.
I cannot think about like just doing that anymore. I just wouldn't get comfortable sitting on the
it's
floor.
weird. And I think part of the problem is when I was growing up, I was always told like especially my grandma on my dad's side, well, you gotta keep your back straight, you gotta have good posture, gotta keep your shoulders back. And I was like, oh, whatever, grandma. And now I'm like, dang, I probably would have such better posture and a better core if I listened to grandma. But I was like, I don't need to. I'm young. Blah. I'll slouch.
Oh, the youth. Don't kid. I mean, me too. But I see it so much with my son. You know, I'll tell him something. I'm like, this is good advice. Listen. And he doesn't.
I really
wanna.
think it's like, it's just the I don't know, the curse of the human condition is that when that information would be beneficial to you, you're in no way ready to hear it. And then when you know it, it's like, oh, it's too late.
Although, a little off topic, Amanda and I have found whatever we need to get through, we have this whole thing of if we can just find like this cute high school girl to tell him, then he'll absorb all of it.
Fair point.
But yeah, that's a weird creeper thing to put out on Facebook Marketplace. Looking for a young, hot girl to talk to my son.
We just need you to tell him the truth.
Can you please just tell him to be responsible and that he needs to clean his room?
Oh, man.
And to
No.
wash his hands.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
In my old age, I've become more paranoid about something that I, as a child, and I don't know if anybody else thinks about this or if it's just me, but I have so much anxiety about remembering. I don't know how to make this make sense. So I'm an only child. My mom has passed away. My dad is like the sole, the orb of the family. And he has all of these things, and I'm scared I'm not going to remember all of them. Like,
Oh,
I want
sure.
him to Post-it note things. Like, this was your grandpa's. Remember when great-grandma used to do all this? Or I'm so scared I'm going to forget the things that I want to pass on to my children. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does.
I see my mom once a month, and I've realized that when we're together, there's plenty of stories, and I can tell you, she tells the same story over and over and over. But I find myself, I want to know more. I want to dig deeper, and I want her to tell me more. And I just realized it's because of me. Like I want to be able to say those stories years from now. I want to be able to, because being an only child myself also, and I'm on the opposite side of things. I lost my dad when I was young. But there's a lot of stories that I don't know that there's anyone to tell me them.
Right.
So it is important.
So I have told him low-key that he needs to take Post-it notes and put everything, like, on the back of, like, he has a clock. That's our great-grandfather's. You need to write down, this was great-grandpa's, this is how I got it, whatever. So then I know.
You know what? Towards the end, I started asking Grandpa questions, and I just recorded them with my phone. And at that point, he didn't care. And maybe you just need to start doing that.
Courtney and Gary are cousins, by the way.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we've mentioned it in other pods where somebody's just, Yeah, so Courtney and I, our dads are brothers. So the whole time she's talking about her dad, I'm like, sounds a lot like my uncle.
Right?
But he's a good guy. So I can cut this or we can leave it in. But Amanda and I were talking recently about things we want to do with this company and podcasts. And she's thought about, well, what about having a service for people where we can come in and actually just do interviews with like old grandparents. That way they'd have a good quality recording of their voice. We could have like a photo album to have them go through. We can record that. Or if there's old videos, we could have a narration track.
That is interesting.
Right.
That's
So,
neat.
but it also came from, we were looking at old videos of, for Uncle Bob's, the party that you skipped out on.
I did. I had PMS.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't tell anybody the reason. I told everyone that you had a migraine.
Well, I did.
You did
I had
have
a
a
headache,
migraine.
and I had some pretty intense cramps, and the flow was heavy. But
Yeah, she literally sends me a picture of like from the movie The Shining, where all the blood's coming out of the elevator doors.
I won't be there.
I can't. Send Uncle my love.
Oh man, and I just went turkey hunting with Uncle. So I've had a lot of Putnam fun lately. It's
You
been a good time.
have.
Yeah,
When you think Putnam, you think fun.
I do, to be honest. But yeah, so those are. It really doesn't fall in the realm of podcasts, but it's a service we want to do, and I think it could be really cool.
Yeah.
It is one of my regrets is my grandfather passed away, but he was in the military for 20 years in the Air Force, and I know that he was in Korea, and I know that he was on the planes that tested the atomic bombs in the ocean. Like, he was a journalist kind of writer person, and he
Right.
was just one of those military people that did not talk about it.
No, none of them did. It was just like loose lips sink ships. You don't talk about that
It's a
shit.
great, one of my favorite sayings that's on propaganda for
Yeah.
wars.
Okay, yeah, that's my favorite too, because Margaret Cho has a joke where she says something about her vagina and says, "I can sink ships," and everyone kind of laughs like, with my loose lips.
Yeah, no, I think that's fabulous.
Nikki Glazer had a joke about loose lips where she's like, I have to warn people when I take my pants off, it's going to be like some old timey guy coming before the king, and then like the roll goes down. You know? What is that called? The
red carpet.
Red carpet?
no. The roll where it was like a
That's like a scroll.
scroll. The scroll. It was like dropping a scroll, and it would roll down the. Yeah. Anyway, she did a much better job at telling the joke, but that's why she
Well,
gets paid. the
she
big
wrote
bucks.
it.
Right. Do you want to give us one, or should we?
I just, no.
Okay. I think the thing that shocks me the most about like getting old, and my grandpa had a saying about getting old and it's not for sissies. And he would always say that, like, if he was like struggling to get around. So I knew, like, as you get older, you start to get sore. But oh my God, just how sleeping wrong can ruin my whole fucking day.
Yes.
It's like my back will hurt for 2 days just because I slept a little funny. I never would have imagined that as a kid. You
Or
know?
just slept too long in the same position.
Right.
Not even uncomfortably, but you're like, oh, I guess I didn't move last night.
Why is it every night, no matter when it is, if I wake up at some point just for a second, I have to roll over to go back to sleep. I can't just go back to sleep on that side. I have to flip the other way. And then if I wake up again, same thing. Like, oh, gotta roll over.
And there's like a secret number of hours that you can sleep. If you sleep too much, you have a headache. You sleep too little,
Yes.
you have a headache. There's like this fine line.
For me, it's a fine line of if I'm gonna be groggy. If I sleep too
Yeah.
little, I'm obviously tired. If I sleep too much, then all I want to do is sleep
Right.
more. And it's like,
Yeah.
where's the sweet
But
spot?
I know what you mean. Like, part of me, my body's like telling me, it's fun to sleep in. Let's sleep in. And then I know, like, you're going to have a headache later.
I
7
think-
hours.
Yeah, 7 hours.
It's my magic number.
It's a weird thing but I can do 9. But
I think my magic
8 is not good.
No.
I think
It's a
9 is
weird
my
thing.
perfect number.
If I do less than 5, two nights in a row, dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do it once.
Yeah.
I can force myself
I
to
can
stay
still
awake.
do a 4-hour sleep.
How did I middle school me occasionally would like put off work, which is a problem I had growing up. But so like, oh, this project's due, so I will stay up all night and do it. And
Right.
and like be at school, and I'd be a little giddy, but I was fine.
Right.
And now it's like I would probably
But
die.
were
Oh.
you fine?
You know,
I think I was.
yeah, because I
Wasn't tired.
You know
I
how many
was just
times
kind
I
of.
did something like a late night project for like forensics or something? It went to 2 or 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was pretty functioning at school the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
I think the last time I did that, I mean, I did it in college too, and the college one was hilarious because it was a big, long paper, and I really do need the pressure to focus sometimes. But I stayed up all
Deadlines
night.
help me. Yeah.
I stayed up all night, did that paper. I was in the computer lab for 13 hours, minus when I went to the bathroom and I think ate food. But I loved that 24-hour lab. I basically lived there. And the thing was, the paper was due, and like there were presentations, but you didn't the paper was due on the same day for every student, but the presentations were scheduled. So my presentation wasn't until the next class day. So like I turned in the paper on a Tuesday. I had to do the presentation on Thursday. So I got the paper all done, turned it in, watched the 3 or 4 people present that day, came back on Thursday, did mine, and the professor gave me like 2 points off. She goes, because you seemed really tired. I was like, no, that was on Tuesday. Today I'm fine and fully rested.
Give points off because you seem tired.
She was a very interesting professor, and my friend who's a professor hated her. And whenever I talk about her, she goes, "Oh, I'm glad she retired. She was such a bitch." But it was one of those things. I don't know why. For whatever reason, that professor loved me. But she was and she was a weird woman, and she was kind of a bitch. But she was so nice to me all the time. I had her for 2 classes, and like I could do no wrong.
Okay.
And I always think that's weird because it was never anything I did or said. She knew a professor who knew me, so then she automatically was like, "Oh, I like this Ryan character."
Well, I like this Ryan character too, so I can relate.
Has anybody in their old age developed a nighttime routine? Or I have to stage my
Yes.
bedside. There's water.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some sort of cough drops because you never know if you get that little bit of tickle.
Yeah.
And you need a good lozenge in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And then you got the Tums. It's like this whole bedside.
Oh, I have chapstick and a diffuser
yes.
instead.
Yes.
I don't have all that, but I do need water because
Yeah.
and I will definitely get up to pee at least once, if not twice, in the middle of the night. And part of it is like, oh, my cats need food too, because Charlie will climb on me and need me hard until I get up. And sometimes I don't know because he'll do that, and I'll get up to go to the bathroom, and when I go by the food dish,
Should we just establish that Charlie's a cat?
Charlie is a cat,
So
yes.
he just
Sorry.
doesn't need you hard.
So then in the kneading, you mean like pawing, like
Yes.
kneading dough,
Like
not
he's making biscuits.
he makes biscuits on my
Making
shoulder.
biscuits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it's my bicep. He loves, and like it's just.
Well, I
it's
can
'cause
relate.
we
Your
all love
bicep,
our
yeah.
biceps.
Yes.
They're so mushy these days, but that's what he likes.
That's why I like them
But I'll
too.
walk past the food dish and there's food in there. It's like I think he just literally wants me to get up and walk through the kitchen, and then he's like, "Thanks, that's all I needed. You can go back to sleep now."
It's like when a little kid, it's like they don't need any more toys, but they just want that excitement of Daddy bought me a toy because he loves me. So it's like
I haven't
I
outgrown
don't need
that.
food
I still
in the
feel that way.
don't need food in the dish, but I just need Daddy to get up like he's gonna get me something.
Well, I don't think their brains understand the difference between me just like walking past the dish or me actually pouring food in it. It's
Sure.
just like, oh, the food is here.
Right. So he just wanted you to know that you love him enough to get him a treat. Or
I'm almost exhausted by the nighttime routine. Like, because there are those regular kind of things. I also have nighttime medication that I take.
Oh, yes.
And then Ryan, I remember when he first discovered that I wash my face every night and every morning with Noxzema. And he was like, what? Because I do it every night. Like, there'd be
And you
times
do
when
have
I was...
beautiful skin, I
No, he
will
does.
say.
When I was younger, I'd like you'd forget to brush your teeth sometimes, like as a teenager, but never forgot to wash my face.
I can add on to this actually with if you told young Tiffany that this was happening, this would blow her mind. When I get ready for bed, it's like almost an hour and a half before I'm actually going to be in
Yes.
Yes.
bed because I make sure that I have everything ready for my lunch for work.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I fill up my water bottle. I go upstairs and I pick out my clothes for the next day. I brush my teeth. I floss. I make the bed because I make that before I go to bed. Don't ask. I don't know.
That's good though. It keeps
Yeah.
bed bugs away.
You make
Yeah, it does.
Well, no. How do you make the bed before you go to bed?
So when I get out of bed in the morning, I just, throw back the covers and greet the singing birds.
Sure.
And then right before I go to bed, I will adjust the sheet and blanket.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
that it's
I'm
more
with you now.
comfortable.
I thought like you were saying like you fully make up the bed like one does in the morning, but you do it right before you sleep and then rip the covers off. And I was thinking, well, what's
It's
the point
almost
of
like
that?
it.
No, I mean
Yeah.
that's what Carl and I do. Like,
Yeah.
and my friend Kathy always said, "Oh no, I have to make the bed in the morning, or else I have a bad day." She's like, "That's how I start my day." And I thought, I
No.
just don't see the point.
I can't. To
just
me, it
leave
always
it.
just seemed like wasted effort. Like I get it, and I don't disrespect or judge anyone who does it, but to me, it was just like, what's the point?
Well, it's,
I mean, I get the point, but to me, it was just a wasted effort thing that I don't want to do. So I don't make my bed in the morning. I make it if I know people are going to come over and be
Do
in
you
my
make
room.
it before you get into bed?
No.
See, I'm uncomfortable if I don't do
oh
that.
yeah, it has to be lined up right for
Well,
me.
see, and Carl, the top.
So this is
sheet
more
gets-
adjusting it than
Yeah.
the
making
top,
it.
The top sheet gets so
Twisted around.
and messed up that when we're like getting ready for bed, and it's like I have to like flip the sheet all the way around. I think, what do you do in the middle of the night?
Apparently,
Why
I'm
is this?
breakdancing in my sleep.
Remember when you had that voicemail that you were dancing on the ceiling?
Yes,
I love
yes. Oh, what a feeling!
I think it's a product of having undiagnosed ADHD for most of my life and knowing that I would rather sleep in the morning.
Yeah.
And so when
Yes.
I call it doing favors for future Tiffany, and I tell this to my kids all the time.
Oh,
That's a great
That makes a
idea.
lot of sense.
So instead of being frustrated in the morning that I don't have all the stuff together, I do favors for future Tiffany tonight.
I like that a lot.
I have this thing at nighttime, the routine, and I know it drives Amanda crazy, but once I get that thing where I'm tired, I have to go to bed, and then she's just like, "Well, somebody's got to let the dog out," and it's like, we've crossed that bridge. I got to go to bed, and the reason is because I know that if I stay up past where that window where I'm groggy, then I'll get my second wind, and I will literally lay in bed just staring at the ceiling for an hour. So I can't do that hour routine. When it hits me, it's like, nope, I got to go to bed now. And that's, yeah, it drives Amanda crazy, and I do feel bad about it, but there's nothing I can do. Otherwise, it's like, if you keep me up any longer, I won't be able to fall asleep until midnight. And that's just the way it is.
I do think now I've almost trained myself.
Sure.
So now I know once I lay in bed and watch TikToks, it's time for bed.
Do you at least have the blue filter on? So
I always do.
Good.
I never take that off.
No, that's not a bad idea.
Phone is so bright. Honestly, obnoxious.
See, I'm the opposite where like my mom always has her screen turned way down and she's like, "Here, look at this." And I'm like, "I can't see it, Mom. I need the phone to give off some light."
Yeah, no, I'm like, turn it down. I'm a vampire.
No, I do turn mine down late at night though when I'm going to sleep because it's the same kind of like, "Oh, I'm blinded."
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see how long it would take. It's for all those out
saw
there.
it a long
I've
time ago.
Well, I put something crazy up on the screen just to see when people would notice and
I just
chuckle.
love the last part. Like,
Or a gay. What does that mean?
Apparently, if you're gay, you're a crotch monger.
How
I will
do you
take-
hoard
I will take-
crotches.
I will take that title.
I don't know. See, a fishmonger is a person that
Someone
sells
how
fishes. So I
whores-
think you add monger to the end of it. It's somebody who
By
sells
the way, we are
that.
looking at the word crotchmonger. Someone how hoards
Yes,
crotches?
someone
Or
Yeah, it was.
Or
Urban
okay.
Dictionary isn't always the most reliable speller.
get that cursed item away from my crotchmonger.
Oh God, we're cute. That getting ready for bed routine taking an hour. I don't have mine. Isn't so much a routine like that. It just seems like Carl and I will say like, "Oh, let's get ready for bed because I gotta work early in the morning." So I'm gonna try to go to bed around 10, and somehow I'm tucking in at like 11:15. I'm like,
Yes.
"How did this take so long? We didn't do anything."
Guess we just
Agreed.
account for that hour now.
Agreed.
And speaking of not doing anything, I thought when I was going to hit adult level and I'm married or whatever, I thought there'd be so much more sex. No.
No.
You don't have time.
No, there's shit to do. There's priorities.
And you need sleep.
Well, I
You need sleep. And, like that's when I watch Melrose Place. Like that's what they do. And, like when like this character's dating this character, every night they're like doing it and like all night. When do people sleep? How do you function?
I think that's the interesting thing as I got older too, is like the idea of monogamy. And like I know that's a different topic for everyone and everyone in their own relationships. I mean, however they, have that as part of their life. I just thought like, yeah, everyone's kind of taught that's how it is. And I remember like growing up as a kid and being a teenager and like you hearing like, oh, that couple's swingers, and you're like, oh my gosh. And but it's the same kind of concept though, isn't it though? Like you think about as you're getting older, you think that all the sex is going to happen, and then you're like, ooh, swingers, and you're like, oh, they must be doing it all the time. And you're like, no.
As someone who's been in a relationship for over 20 years and been open for almost all 20, it's not happening that often.
Well, that's
It's hard enough to coordinate the two of us, let alone
Right.
one other person or two other people or
Right.
whatever. It's like, oh,
because being an adult is
Yeah.
time consuming.
And then
It's hard.
to those on the other side of the room too, you add in a child that is the ultimate cock blocker.
Oh my God, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
It literally, the kids are on the same floor as us now
Yeah.
in our new house.
no.
Yeah,
And they
so-
just walk in
Yeah.
whenever they want.
Yeah.
And then they ask questions, dumb questions, because they know what happens.
They know what's going on.
Why was the door locked last night? I heard a weird noise coming from your bedroom.
Why try to
How
interrupt?
old are your children? Not to be nosy.
No.
Oh,
That's a
they're
good question.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're probably in the realm. Like I
Oh, they
believed
know.
when I was a teenager that my parents at least I think I forced myself to believe that they weren't having sex anymore.
Yeah.
But
I'm in
you
that
know.
realm. Like when I was a teenager and my parents' door was locked, even though in the back of my head I kind of knew, I like pretended like, no, they don't do that.
they're just wrapping.
And then
Christmas
also
presents.
there was just me just not giving a care because I'm like, they need to know how much of a bitch is being right now. This is very necessary.
No.
So yeah, as I'm looking back, I was a dick of a cock blocker, but yeah, kids, oh my God.
Yeah. No,
And just time.
I think it's also just how much they exhaust you.
Yes.
You have no urge at the end of the day because the mental just exhaustion from
Even
dealing with them
pets,
some days.
It's like, oh,
Yeah, pets.
Don't wake up the dog, honey. Like
a cat's on us, useless. Like you can't do anything
Exactly.
because you don't want to disrupt them. So yeah, any naked time you're like,
right.
yeah.
I'm really comfortable right now.
How long it's been since we've showered together? We used to do that all the time. And
I
now
know.
it's like,
It's
Now
been
it's like-
at least 3 years for me.
I go to like get in the shower and Carl's done already. I'm like,
It's
oh,
so weird.
okay.
And you think about your younger years, and you think about all that, like, as you're just adolescence to teen years into early adulthood. You think about just all that sexy fun to be had, and it's like, why isn't it happening now?
I would say that my husband and I had a lovely little resurgence about 10 years in.
Yeah.
That was very nice. And I actually remember one of my employees saw a hickey on my neck. And she was like, and I was like,
Did it correspond with the 50 Shades of Grey coming out? Because we had a fling during that time. It was like the resurrection of the sex, you know.
I mean, I guess maybe I should do the math.
Maybe we
I
just
do
need
read
to
a
have
lot
a
of
gay
smut.
version of that. Maybe that's what I'll.
That horrible book your mom bought for Christmas.
Yes. I was thinking. Okay, so I did have the serious one to start this whole thing, but
Sure.
I was thinking about music. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking about. I don't think we've totally hated people for being nostalgic. Like Ryan and I really appreciate the people that collect
This is my
and,
thing
and
with
truly love things.
this is my thing with nostalgia because I am a big, and maybe it's just the way my brain is wired, but like I'm obsessed with things from my childhood and like things like that's my safe place. Like life was so easy when I was 10, 11, 12. Like so that era is like, oh, that was such a perfect time in my life. And so like living in the house I grew up in is such a like comfort, but it's like part of it is like I get nostalgic, but I'm anti-nostalgia when it's the idea that you hold the things up from your growing up and like act like the stuff today is bad, or it's okay to prefer your stuff, but like, and this comes from being a big comic book nerd and watching people who like love the 50s Superman. And I'm in a Facebook group where we talk about how great the show is. I hate the people who can't elevate the show without saying how like no Superman's ever been this good since then. Like that's not cool. So like Carl and I have like a lot of nostalgia discussions about how like there's good nostalgia and then there's fake nostalgia where you convince yourself life was so much better than life's always good and always crappy. Like that's the
Right.
world.
And like I'm glad we actually mentioned all of that because I think art and culture, that's the thing. I guess I always thought I was going to be that person that was hip and always like I'm always interested in the new thing. And I find myself being the exact people we always saw. Like, we always wonder they just listen to music, the same music they did when they grew up. But here we are doing the same damn thing. And I sometimes I'm in awe because I'm going, okay, I'm listening to something that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. I'm listening to, like, because these are the songs I grew up with.
They create that feeling in you.
And I think it is that connection. And I seriously start listening to new stuff and I'm like, what is this? And I think, how did I get to be that old? Like, I always thought I would, be relevant and see and understand the new, and it's not happening.
Hey, Gary,
Yeesh.
you want to guess what's in my bra right now?
My guess is something that little kid you would never guess is in there. But adult you says, oh my God, I need this in my bra.
Ryan, what's in my bra?
Tums.
Sure is. Because you never know when you're going to get heartburn as an adult.
What kind of candy did you keep in there when you were younger?
Well, I didn't really have much need for one. I still don't.
No, we all had those like chewy necklaces.
Ah, the candy
Right?
necklaces.
I used to worry, I for a little while was worried how often I took Tums.
Really?
Really?
I really and I know for me it's very much the foods I eat, but I don't take the time to figure out what foods they are. I know I usually get heartburn from bananas, which I've been told is weird because it's supposed to do the opposite, but it happens a lot. Some kind of like if I eat Cheerios, sometimes I get heartburn from that, and it's not like.
So maybe you have like not total celiac, but maybe something wheat related.
See, I don't know because like tomatoes do it to me too.
That's acidic.
It's like
Yeah.
my stomach acid is just wonky, and I'm like maybe I'll
There
someday
are days
get
where even
checked.
just tap water gives me heartburn.
I have
don't
heartburn
know.
right now, and I cannot tell you the last time I had a Tums.
I could offer it to you.
No, I just never used
It was in her bra.
You remember as
but-
kids, you thought like it really like your heart was on fire.
Well,
Like
yeah,
when
I
people
didn't know
would
what
tell
it
you that
was.
thing, yeah. and
Oh,
then
no,
you're
I
like-
can see that. I didn't have that, but I know what you mean.
But now you're just like more. It's like, oh, my throat's burning.
Yeah.
Do you want to know something else that little kid me would not have believed about adult me? When I was a kid, I used to be so paranoid of like moles on my body. Like I have a mole like under my boob kind of. And like I barely see it now. Like I don't even think about it. But when I was like 4 or 5, I was like, oh my God, I have this mole. Everyone, if I take my shirt off, they're going to see it. And I talked to my grandma, like, is there a way to get rid of moles? She goes, well, yeah, you can have the doctor burn it off. And I remember having this vision of like... like yeah, like they like poke it and it would burst into flames, and then like I pictured it like this perfect circle of fire going around my nipple, and then like my nipple disappearing because like it burned off. Like,
Because they went a little higher than they
what,
should have.
what if they do it wrong? But it's just weird because like even like you just get so used to seeing them that you don't see them anymore. That it's like it's just weird that like little kid me was so like
I've
everyone's
always
gonna,
been a moly kid.
they're gonna notice the mole on my belly button or by my belly, and they're gonna look at it and notice. And like now it's like people don't even who's gonna.
You know, one thing that we talked about before starting this, and I don't think you were here yet. I think, Carl, you were somewhere else.
Carl was in a Zoom for church.
But
Yeah, Zoom.
A churchy Zoom.
A church Zoom.
A churchy Zoom.
Could never imagine that as a kid.
No kidding.
And we
I
were
couldn't imagine that
recently-
like in college.
No.
Carl's going to be in a church Zoom.
Yeah.
This winter, we went to see a drag show. Not drag show. What was
It
it?
was a burlesque
Burlesque.
show
Yeah.
And,
Still mad about it.
Why are you mad about it?
because she didn't get to come.
It was, I love Mercury Stardust.
So do I.
It's your fault for
So
not being friends with us
awesome.
back. Well,
I mean,
friends
we
with
were,
us,
but
just-
Well,
Yeah.
let me share. Okay, I doubt Mercury Stardust will ever hear this podcast, and I hope she doesn't. But because I'm gonna rat her out on something that freaked me out.
fair enough.
I think Gary knows where I'm going
I know
with this.
exactly where you're going with this. I do.
So
but
I was really
go ahead.
after the show. I was very excited to meet her and talk with her and get a picture taken with her. And as I'm like, kind of skating around, trying to like not seem like the hokey little chick from Chautauqua, I look at her. She takes her boots off. Actually, one of her partners
partner
takes
did,
her
yeah.
her boots off, and Mercury proceeds to throw her foot up and pick out the toe jam between her toes. And I'm like, Amanda, bless her heart, is like, hey, Mercury, Courtney, she traveled all the way from, she really wants to say hi to you. And Mercury comes over and like just grabs me, and there's the hands, and the toe jam, and you didn't
want to be that backstage.
Right?
Can you help me with an assumption I've made?
What?
Is Mercury a loud person in general?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, are you saying this is the person that does do stuff with their toe jam and like picks at things and?
No, but just
No,
that
loud.
her
like,
the way she
volume.
talks, she's loud.
Yeah.
She seems
Yeah.
really loud to me. Like,
She
if
had
you
a
were in
very
person, you'd be like,
very big personality.
And I truly love her. I watch her lives. I love her videos. I do.
Did you
But
see the
she's-
TikTok about not buying the fake book of
There's
hers?
a fake
Oh,
book
there's a
already?
fake?
Someone is selling a book that the cover looks the same, but the title isn't, and it's like it's on Amazon. It's just like typed up paper. It's not even
Oh my god.
like her book is the real book. Make sure you. She's like, because that book isn't even my book isn't even out yet. And I was-
People
It's kind of funny to
are the
think about.
worst.
When you were younger, there could be a hoax like that and would go on and on and on. But now there's so many fact checkers that immediately.
It's weird how the way fact checking can be so quick now, and yet so many people don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that we have
it's both ways. It's weird how fast the fact checking can happen, but also like to publish something is so quick now. And back then it would have taken a while to get that going. So
Did we speed too fast past foot
Sorry,
funk?
toe jam?
Well, we did, but I just, again, Mercury, if you hear this, I still love you, and I think you're an amazing person. Maybe take it back a notch on the toe jam, but you're still amazing. I still love you. But afterwards, we stayed in Madison, and then the next day, where did we go, Ryan?
Right. So this is the thing that adult us would confuse teenage us, because we went to, there is a little, not really a strip mall, but like kind of, and the two places that are right next to each other is Vanilla Bean, a bake shop, and the Adam and Eve store. Mm-hmm. And we had more fun in the bake shop than the sex store. However, the bake shop did have some dirty items that
They did.
Courtney did purchase.
I wasn't the only one that
no.
purchased
I got some dirty ones too.
I got the sprinkles. They're penis sprinkles. And I
Excellent.
just want you to know I bought the black ones and the white ones.
Nice.
And the black ones were not bigger than the white ones. And actually, it was the cashier that pointed that out. She's like, I would have thought the black ones would have been bigger. But no, it was a lot. And when we say like a baking shop, it wasn't like they had baked goods. No, it was just like pots and pans.
Yeah.
and-
It
Really
was
cool.
for
Like a
baking
kitchen.
enthusiasts. They
Yeah.
had
I love a good kitchen store.
amazing stuff.
It was.
No,
It was
I
amazing.
love that.
They had
place.
some measuring cups that I almost bought, but instead I bought Wonder Woman cake toppers for myself.
Oh.
The little pans that I bought, I use in my little air fryer thing, and they're like the best damn pans I've ever owned.
And again, we're talking more about the pans than anything that we ever saw at the Adam and
I
Eve
will
store.
say though, the Adam and Eve store was a little disappointing to me as far as, and this is, I mean, I get the way most people watch
Right,
their
'cause,
adult
like,
entertainment now. Not many people
You
buy
compare that
DVDs
place
like
to
they
like
used
Sex World, and Sex World
Yeah.
has like 3. Well, does
Sure.
that still exist?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure.
They
I don't
had,
know.
like,
I don't
3
know for a
floors.
fact. I don't know for a fact, but I don't know why it wouldn't.
Right.
But I felt like the Adam and Eve store, we walked in and it was like all the walls were lined with product and there were a few shelves,
very
but it was
vacant.
very empty. And in my mind, if I'm going to an adult store, there should be like racks and racks of porn. And it just really wasn't. And I don't know if it's like the DVDs don't sell anymore, so we don't
I
carry
will
them.
say it was
but-
very clean. Like sometimes
yeah.
you go
Oh,
to
they're
these
usually
other
very
places.
clean.
Yeah. Like sometimes you go to these other ones and it's like the packages are all mangled and
Oh yeah, remember at one of our local ones, they always had like the big fake lady parts, and in the box there was like the little spot where it was like a little mini version, so you could touch it to see what it felt like, and those always looked all grimy because like
Oh.
everyone and their mom would
Greasy,
come
dirty
Ew.
fingers.
I would not touch that. No, thank you.
That phrase is just wonderful when talking about a porn shop. Everybody and their mom, because I picture people bringing their moms to
There
the-
was a period in my early 20s where I went to Pure Pleasure like once a month just to buy it because they would do like these 3-packs of magazines and like
3-packs are amazing.
But also, it was one of those things where when we were that age, there was very few things open at 2 a.m.
Oh yeah,
So we would
Sometimes
go
you
there
just
just-
go to be entertained for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go there, get some porn, then go to like a. I think we went to like some of the grocery stores and got Chinese food, like the box frozen Chinese
oh yeah.
food.
And now you just need to yell into Google, big old titties.
You and I
mean,
went to that store for very different reasons.
But
Yeah, no, I think I bought and this is a great story. So recently I was in the basement cleaning out boxes and I found a box of a bunch of stuff from like my junior year of high school, but also very early college. And my thing is,
we own the house that Ryan grew up in, so
Okay.
when I was a teenager, I've come to realize when going through these boxes that when my grandma would like decide to clean my room, she never wanted to get rid of anything for fear that it was important. So like I have boxes of like, oh look, an old Columbia house, like the little stamps. Like this was mostly garbage, but for a long time I had this sex toy that I bought at Pure Pleasures called the Anal Amazon, and it was like this pink tube, but it was like the front was like a woman, like a little tiny, like she had arms and legs and a face, and then like you were supposed to like put it was supposed to feel like a butt. It did not feel like a butt. In fact, and this is what I don't think of myself as very girthy, but I could not fit in it.
it's
And
broken half.
I had and I seriously, and I don't remember if I cut it so that I could get in all the way or if I broke it. I don't remember. But for the longest time, like somewhat recently, I thought, I wonder whatever happened to that because I know I had it as an early adult when I still lived at my grandma's house, but I don't know where it is now. But I found it in a box, so I was like, oh, good.
So
It did get packed away.
Did
It's
your
not like
grandma pack it away?
I don't
then?
think so. I think I
Okay.
did. I think
Like,
I moved it.
She'd be like, oh,
It was
that
in a
grandson of
drawer.
mine, He split it right in half.
Grandma did know about the other literature.
Oh, she did find some porn once when I was a senior in high school, and she rearranged stuff, and then she just came and she goes, and I want you to know, I did find some of those movies you have, and I don't want you to be embarrassed, but I can think of better things you could spend your money on. I'm like, oh, Grandma.
Such a nice way to put that.
And I remember specifically the one it was called Bangin' College Boys.
That's a really nice way to
And
put
then
that, though.
and then that story became true. I
What,
was
that
the
you
college
banged?
boy.
You were a
Oh,
college boy.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna pull it back to what Courtney was saying though. We had more fun at the bake shop because like I never would have guessed. Child me never would have even imagined how excited adult me gets when I'm like in the cooking section of Kohl's and I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
looking at the pots and pans. And I'm like, oh my god, the things I could cook with this.
By the way,
I get
Gary,
so excited. Yeah.
this is a complete secret. I mean, not with the world, but with a specific person. But I really do want to buy the square copper pans.
Oh, you should. Yes, he would get so excited.
Because I thought he'd think it's funny, but he could also use them and like cook with you guys.
No, he's actually asked for them. I'm not kidding.
Oh my god.
And I've told him no.
Perfect.
I
Okay.
love torturing this kid. He couldn't have a sword either, but we figured a way
He
to do
got
it.
a sword.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's gonna
yeah.
be awesome. But yeah, I like look at a pan. I'm like, ooh, that's a big one. I'm gonna do some big old. I'm gonna cook me some taters in that. I don't know. I get crazy.
But as a kid, you're like, I don't want to freaking wash that. Like,
Well, yeah.
The things you get excited
Yeah.
about receiving as gifts that as a child you'd be like, ugh, really?
But yeah, recently I really got into baking stuff. So like anything baking now gets me really excited. But yeah, the baking store was amazing. I got some great cookie cutters. I got some flavoring stuff, and
we really need to do a Madison trip.
I really want to go back again because
I love
there's so much
Madison.
more stuff I want to get.
We can visit Leah.
I'll walk you around to all the best
I
places.
did
I
actually
promise.
get some peanut sprinkles too that I gave to Carl because Carl wasn't able to go.
Oh.
Yeah. So Carl also got peanut sprinkles.
Did you get the black ones or the white ones?
Nope.
White ones.
It was actually kind of a beige. It was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They're kind of in the
Yeah.
middle.
Which is more my style. Like that's usually who's more attracted to me, so that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, do we got any more?
I
Is
have
that
one
kinda-
more. It's very quick,
Yeah, let's
but
hear
it's
it.
something that teenager me, even young adult me, wouldn't have believed. Because my dad once told me, like he got up every morning at 5:30, poop at 6 a.m., poop again at 8:30, and I remember thinking, you poop twice before 10 a.m. Adult me completely understands.
It's a lot of pooping.
There's days when I do that too.
Well, it's weird. And like my dad and I had a joke once. I said, There was one time where I just kind of joked out loud that I'm like, I should start keeping a log of when I poop just to keep track.
Log.
A log.
Yeah.
The log. And my dad said, oh, yeah, we could both do that, and then we could compare to see if we poop at the same time. So then for a while, we would do a thing where, like, not every time, but a lot of times if we were pooping, I would text him, TAS, for taking a shit. And there was one time we were at a wedding, and he was in the bathroom. I went in the bathroom to poop, and so I'm in the stall, and I hear my dad talking when he comes in, he's peeing. So then I text him, and his phone goes, meh, meh. He goes, is that you? I'm like, yep.
No, but it is funny. Like, what are the triggers now? Like, I never thought as a kid I'd be thinking about pooping or, like, not being regular. Or I remember last year one time we were down at a friend's house down in the Waukesha area, and he's like, oh, yeah, we got some of that coffee left. And he's like, oh, no, is that the coffee that, like, just makes you poop instantly? And I'm like, what?
There are certain coffees that do that to me.
Yeah, and apparently that's the thing. And I'll tell you, even last weekend, I did have we had coffee at the coffee shop in town when I was up north, and the same thing happened. Like, I was like, we got back to the resort we were at, and I was like, I need to poop. Like, that coffee.
Was it 8 o'clock coffee? It was 8 o'clock.
I don't know. And so now I'm thinking, man, all the adults we knew that drank coffee, like, there was a lot of pooping going on.
It was.
Do you remember when you were kids, like, did you just have the idea that, like, literally pooping took longer? Because if someone went pee, they would just go to the bathroom and they'd come right out. And if they pooped, it was like, 10 minutes.
Or like the
Now
idea
that
of
you're an
the
adult-
magazine or whatever.
Now that you're an adult, you realize it was more about, like,
Just taking a break
I'm
from
just
life.
relaxing. I'm just going to sit on this toilet for a little bit.
Only
Go to the bathroom.
Sitting on this cold thing, kind of spread out.
Oh, no.
It's
no.
freeing.
It's me time.
At,
'Cause,
at one of my old jobs, we had an employee restroom. And sometimes when I'd go in there, like, for a quick moment, and I'd go to the bathroom, I wouldn't even turn the light on. It was just like, oh, it's so much more calming in the dark in here. I'll just sit here and go.
Isn't that what
I've done
Gary
that.
calls the Amish poops?
Yeah. When I was younger, I had this crazy idea of, I wonder what it'd be like to poop as an Amish. So I turned out the lights and lit a candle, and I just took a big shit. And it was interesting. It was just the ambiance. It was, something.
But it was really nice.
Yeah. That would have been like late middle school me. So it was fun. I'll own it. Why not?
Hey, we don't deny things here. That was terrifying.
That was my gut. For some coffee.
And what about the gas? You get older.
Yeah.
That was.
I've always been gassy.
I
Good
remember,
night.
like, initially,
Are you going to bed? Okay.
like,
I'll be up in a
I
bit.
gotta finish up my mission real quick.
Go finish that mission.
Do whatever you want.
I've literally been doing that all night.
We're actually talking about that right now. Being adults. Doing whatever we want.
Doing the damn dishes.
Yeah. Like tonight, I don't want to, but I'm going to have to take the garbage out to the curb.
God, you've been super dad all week.
I've been
I
all
have a
right.
thing where when I'm home on a Thursday and I put the garbage out, I always try to get it to the curb before Carl comes home because then I don't have to try to squeeze it between the cars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes
In the
sense.
in the spring and summer, it's not so bad because
No.
when it's winter, you can't go around through the
Yep.
grass.
Yep, absolutely.
another thing that we wouldn't think we'd be talking about.
No, like I never thought, I don't know. First thing when we moved to that house, I'm like, how are we going to hide the garbage cans? Why the hell would I be thinking about that? Like,
Right.
That's boring adult stuff. Well, it happens.
Here we are,
Yeah.
living the dream.
Living the dream indeed. I think this was a great conversation.
I think you're right, especially for being so spontaneous.
Yeah.
Are we doing biscuits?
Yeah, so let's wrap this up. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and do our biscuits. All right, and we're back. It's time for a Tisket or Tasket. We're doing some wicker biscuit baskets. Yeah, so time for the biscuit basket. Carl, can you start us off?
I guess my really buttery biscuit this week is that I've talked a little bit, I think, about it, but I've been doing a lot of work on my professional leadership kind of quality stuff. And I've been doing, I'd say for the last 7-8 months now, maybe even a little bit longer, but really focusing in on strengths and just doing some discovery. Right now I'm working on Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So I'm doing this with an advisor at work, and then I have some kind of mentors too that I've developed professionally. But it's really cool because it's really bleeding into my own life, and I'm really enjoying it right now. So, I mean, it does have stuff to do with, like, the UU Church stuff too, because I did another program through them, kind of same kind of thing. So it's kind of like my whole like being right now is kind of wrapped up in this, like just understanding my being. I want everyone to know that I'm on a journey myself, and I want to bring people with me. Like I want everyone to come with me, because I think that makes it better for all of us. So that's just my extra buttery biscuit.
I like it. And you know what? I love going on your journeys. I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi.
So Ryan, can you...
My buttery biscuit is in no way as in-depth or personally fulfilling, but well over a year ago, I pre-ordered there's an offshoot toy company called Formo Toys, and we're creating a toy line of like specific characters that are supposed to kind of wink wink fit into the He-Man world, but they're not official and like can't legally. So like, and they had to actually change some of the designs because they were too close to the old characters. But pre-ordered those well over a year ago, like when I was at my old job even, and they're starting to ship. So there's just something super rewarding about getting something so cool that you paid for well over a year ago. They kind of forget about every once in a while, and then every once in a while they'd say, here's some new update on the production line. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm getting those, and I already paid for them, so I don't have to worry about. So we got what was called the early bird kit, where it came with like a cardboard castle of this dragon shaped thing, and then little cardboard like prints of each figure that you're going to be getting. So that came today, so I was kind of excited about that. Like, I didn't open it yet though, but I was like, oh, this is so fun, because if you ordered within the first week of the pre-sale, you got this early bird kit. So
Nice.
pretty fantastic.
Nice.
And I like to bring Carl on those journeys with me.
I mean, they're all in our castle, so.
Well, my biscuit, I can't say it's buttered or burnt. It's just like, I just want to share with you how my brain works, because I make myself laugh. And I hope that you guys see the journey that my brain takes with this. And I wish I was deep like Carl and stuff. No, this is my brain.
Well, no, people
I know,
always, they don't
childish
know where
I
I'm
am.
going most of the time either.
Well, I'll
Like,
tell you where I'm going. So on Facebook, there's a deodorant. We'll call it gloomy deodorant. Not that I think we'll probably make it big enough where they're going to come back and sue us. But anyways.
so this is like it's like a regular ad that occurs in yours?
Yes. And this deodorant is particularly noted that you can use it all over your body. Are you guys familiar with what I'm talking about?
I
I'm-
have some
so.
gloomy
I think I know what you're
deodorant.
talking about.
I bought some gloomy deodorant.
You
as
bought it?
well.
I have some.
I mean, Wisconsin, spring, summer, fall. What an amazing time to try a product like this.
Right? And I'll tell you, the reason why I bought it too is we're going on this big 9-day trip up to Upper Michigan. And what more do you need than gloomy deodorant
Well,
when.
and some off with DEET.
Right? So I'm listening to these commercials that pop up for the gloomy deodorant, and it just cracks me up because the woman that has spent her life making this special formula comes on and she's like, researchers have shown that even after showering, your crotch can smell on a scale of 1 to 10 a 5. And I'm like, who are these researchers?
The whiff test.
The whiff test.
And my brain automatically goes to this teacher that I had in high school. His name was Mr. And he was like the all-time like biology science teacher that wore unnecessarily a white lab coat. He didn't have to. He just did. And he was always like, when we'd have like chemistry or whatever, he'd be like, don't smell directly
you
at
gotta
it. It's
waft.
dangerous. You gotta
You gotta walk.
And that's where my brain goes, is this
I remember
little
the wafting.
geriatric man in a white lab coat that smelling somebody's ass as they step out of the shower.
That's a 5.
That's a 5.
I feel like there's so many variables with that though, because like, what if you scrub your ass really, really well, and then the other person in the test didn't? They just kind of splashed some soap and water up there, and that's
But
it.
like, where does your life take you on a journey that you've become a researcher for crotches and ass smells?
Well, when I worked at Kimberly Clark, there was I never got to see it, but apparently there was a whole research department that's just toilets and testing what clogs what and what does what, and I thought that was hilarious.
Did the employees come in to test it?
there was these people. I'm just going to assume they're in lab coats and they're the same type of wafting guy Courtney just described. But that was their job, is to test the TP and what it does.
And I don't know, you said, Tiffany, that you bought the gloomy deodorant. I as well did. I bought the toasted coconut and I smelled it. And it smells like toasted taint. Like there's nothing.
It's already tainted up for you.
It is like it already smells like it's not a great smell.
I'm not a fan of coconut, so I think I have there's a peony and I have others.
So
other
what you're
smells.
saying,
what's your
if we go
verdict?
hiking this summer, we're going to think and know about this.
I wanted to try some of the new hipster deodorants that you see so much about on Facebook. And so I was at a store out of town and they had we'll call it Dr. Bigfoot. And I was like, oh, I'm going to buy some of this. And I tried it. I liked the smell, but I will not lie to you. The way when I would sweat, it would like melt and then solidify in my pit hair. So when like I moved my armpit,
good.
it like yanked and it was like
That's
I can't.
how the old gel stuff used to do all the time. So it's like they're using that formula again.
But I can't 100% guarantee that it was because of that deodorant, because I left it in the car once when we packed for a trip and it melted in the car and then kind of so I don't know if that did something to it. So like I need to try it at least one more time.
I remember
to
in
find
high
out,
school doing that big like open, you're just like oh yeah.
And what's even funnier is I was discussing this with our director of nursing at work, and we were outside on the patio, and I'm like talking to her about this gloomy deodorant, and she's like, I actually have the peony deodorant flavored, not flavored, scented right now. So she like offers me a whiff of her armpit.
I would do that.
And you ran to get your lab coat and you
No, it's
lost
like-
it.
How do you, when one presents themselves with their armpit, like take a whiff, like how, like
That's a 7.
You know, you're talking about this, and like the whole time I'm just remembering when I was like 6 or 7, 2020 had some report about something. I don't know what the report was about, but on the promo for the episode, it had like a person lift their arm up and the doctor like sniff underneath, and my cousins and I like peed our pants laughing so hard because that was not something you ever saw on TV, was some nerdy doctor sticking his nose in someone's armpit. But when you were talking about that, that was the first thing I thought. I was
So,
like, remember that 2020
if
commercial?
somebody offered you their armpit, would you smell
I would
it?
absolutely
Yeah,
smell it.
absolutely.
I did. I went right in.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
When
I
I was
would.
about
I didn't want to offend her by not.
When I
Right.
was about
You know.
7, my cousin was 4 years older than me, and she just started wearing deodorant. And one day she came over and she's like, "Hey Ryan, I forgot to put deodorant on one armpit today. Which one smells worse, this one or this one?" And the second one was like, oh my god, it was so bad, I almost died. It stunk so bad. Like she was like sweating all day. So the one was like deodorant, the other one was like 3-day crotch, but armpit.
Must have been gloomy. Toasted taint.
What's the verdict on it? Is it okay? I'm asking more of you, Tiffany, because if
Oh, I like it.
yeah, okay.
I,
Well, they were giving them
Well,
a plug, so I mean, they're not going to be mad.
I mean, do you wear it when running, or do you?
I have the acidified body wash
Oh,
that I really
Ooh.
like, and I do really like that.
Yeah.
And I've used the it's like a paste, not like a stick.
Mine's like a lotion, like
Yeah.
tube.
And you rub the lotion on the skin.
And I didn't use it
Nice.
on my armpits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it.
would love a good
Yeah.
deodorant for my man stuff.
Yeah.
Truth be told, because it gets so stinky down there in the summer and it's all sweaty.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny. I'm with 10 guys last weekend, and everyone's sharing what their favorite Gold Bond is, and it's just like, we're really having this conversation.
Well,
I
it's
use Gold
reality.
Bond, the
It's
anti-chafe.
Well, and they have like the ones that's supposed to be for the feet, the ones for this or that, or half of the guys all get the one that is the most like tingly, and that's the one they use for their balls.
The medicated, the Gold
know,
Bond
like-
medicated.
And I'm like, really?
Is that?
And
Yeah,
I think
apparently.
Gold Bond.
I don't think you're
medicated
supposed
parlor.
to, but apparently they enjoy
I
that.
don't want it to tingle down there.
No, I don't
Yeah.
either. That frightens me.
Some people like the rush, apparently.
I
living on the
guess.
edge.
So that's my biscuit.
I like it. I would call that buttered.
Yeah.
Buttered with gloomy.
The smell thing is a little upsetting, I suppose, but No, the
toasted
toasted taint.
I don't know why, but your wafting makes me think of Chef's Kiss.
Well, it is almond.
It is.
Well, with her dad, she's got that chef experience imprinted
Yes.
on her.
Almost like almond butter. in
I'll
a
bring
way.
it for next time, you guys. There's just something off about
I
it.
do want to smell it now.
Smell
But
it.
anything
Put
like
it on
that
your
is
armpits.
just crazy because it smells so different on every other person because body chemistry makes such a difference.
yeah.
There's things that smell good on me that smell terrible on other people
Well,
and vice versa.
The lady's pit that I smelled, she says that what you smell out of the tube dissipates,
That could
and then
be. Works with your
then it like that
pH and
harshness
all the
goes
other.
away.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Grandma Tilly, is that you?
It isn't. But if it was. So yeah, I got a biscuit. Number one, my biscuit that's just so buttered is my excuse me, father-in-law just had open heart surgery. He had a quadruple bypass, and everyone in the family, of course, was very on edge because it's a big deal. It's a big surgery.
Yeah.
But the buttery biscuit is just how well he's been doing afterwards. His recovery is phenomenal. The guy is just such a fighter too. I mean, he's just a really strong person, and it's cool to see him just like giving the world hell. Like, yeah, I just got my chest cut open, but you know what? I'm gonna do the best I can to.
No, did he have like a heart complication that led to this? Or?
So he didn't have a heart attack, but he did the thing where they went in and checked for for the
Angiogram?
yeah. And so luckily they're like, oh, we've got some
Good
major
that they caught
blockage,
it, yeah.
right? So luckily he didn't have a heart attack. Yeah, but he had the bypass. Everything went really well. He's bouncing back super fast. He's given it hell in all the right ways. He's already been up and walking around, and Amanda's out there with him, so she got to be with him.
It's
and that
Amanda's birthday.
It is Amanda's
so what
birthday
better
today.
news for her too to have
right.
Good reminder for guys to get to the doctors too. Like,
So then,
yeah.
go ahead and get checked because
Yeah.
if you can catch it beforehand, that's better.
A girl once asked me why I have a physical every year. Because you're a guy. Like, why would you have to go every year?
I feel
I'm
like
human.
in my brain,
Like-
that's more reason to go every year because
Yeah.
you're a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's made me incredibly happy to see how well that went, how happy the family is, and
Do you think he was like inspired or like empowered by what Amanda's been through too?
Maybe. Truth be told, I think it's the other way around. Just because Amanda's seen how tough he is,
Yeah.
and it's funny because she can sometimes fall into that trap that we all do, where I call it the pity party.
Yeah.
But then she puts on her big girl hoonies and she gets
Yeah.
it done. You know.
Oh, that's cool. And they do have a special bond.
They do. No, they're very close. Matter of fact, tonight, my mother-in-law actually went back home because she was sleeping in the same room. But she went back home, and Amanda's staying there tonight. So they're actually having some father-daughter bonding, and
Nice.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy, warms my heart, butters my biscuit.
You want one buttered biscuit?
I would love your biscuit.
I had a job interview last Thursday
Ooh.
Yeah?
at our local high school. Not the one you went to. Sorry.
Then that's not our local high school.
But you did have one there already.
No, well, they didn't. They never called me. So I've gone on 3 interviews. So let's backtrack just a teeny bit. One north of here a little bit. The interview went really well. They called me. They said it was great. Love you. Sorry, we hired someone else that has lots of experience. And I said, oh, no. Then I went on a second interview
South of us.
south of us.
Okay, yep.
Small rural school. Did not go as well. Forgot my meds. Forgot a lot of stuff. Like, I kind of feel like it was like fate, right? Like
Is this the one where you did the weird rap thing?
the Hammer Time dance.
Yeah.
How that didn't get me immediately hired.
What led to that? Like, were they like? So our next question is:
So they were giving me a tour, but like schools these days have different times that they call different things. That's usually themed to their thing.
Oh, yeah.
The school I'm working in right now has Deer Time, and it stands for Drop
everything and read.
And then, so at that school, their mascot is the Thunder, and it's Thor. So it's Hammer Time. And I was like, oh, it's Hammer Time? Like, anyway.
I probably would have done the same thing.
It was funny.
I
He
probably
did
would have
laugh.
hired you on the spot.
He did laugh. And they called me and said, same thing, like, really love you. If there's a position open, please try again, blah, blah, blah. Although they were very focused on coaching. So I had this third interview.
Oh, so they're looking for somebody who can come in and be a teacher and coach.
Yeah, I would coach.
Okay.
That I don't have a problem with that, but like, probably a
I
football
just-
coach or something.
Maybe this is a little bit of a tangent, but I hate when athletics overshines the academics of a
yeah.
school thing. It drives me nuts.
Not only that, but sometimes it's socially awkward. Like my health teacher, like talking about the birds and the bees and everything, he was also the wrestling coach.
Right.
And it was awkward.
Like just recently, I saw on Facebook there was a picture of the LSU library and how things were like so run down, and then the LSU locker rooms and how everything.
Looked like freaking Star Trek.
Yeah, that pisses me off so much. But anyway, sorry to tangent. I just
Okay.
Third interview, I get in there, I'm nailing it.
Nice.
Question, answer, laughs, eye contact, repeated questions, little good answers from other people. First of all, I would like to say that I also pumped myself up on the way with Lizzo. And I don't know if you've ever pumped yourself up with Lizzo, but it's good.
Not only
So on
have
the
I
way.
pumped myself up with Lizzo, I have pumped Courtney and myself together up with Lizzo while baking pies.
Yes, with
I pump myself up with the night court theme occasionally. I mean, there are lots of things I use, but most recently it was the night court theme.
There's one time I took a shower to the theme of Dallas. It was one of the most energetic showers I've ever taken.
If you want a relaxing shower, the opening credits theme from Carrie, which is also a scene in the
Sure.
shower, but it's such a slad little soft song.
Okay.
These
Anyway,
biscuits
let's
are
tell-
all over.
Okay, so I had that interview Thursday. They say, thanks for coming in. We have some more interviews. You'll probably know by the middle of next week, which would be yesterday. I get home from work Friday, school with the kids. I literally, this mark on my forehead, I opened my passenger side door into my forehead, like so hard. It was instantly huge, egg, and bleeding
Oh my god.
down my face. And I'm like, oh man, like mercury's in the microwave again, whatever. And I get home and I'm like, oh, let's watch a movie or something. And I'm downstairs and my phone rings and it's the phone number for my kid's high school. And I think, which kid was late for class today? Because it's the automatic call that you
Yep.
get. This is, hi, we're calling in regards to blah, blah, blah. They missed this class. If this is
That's
an error,
really
call blah, blah,
embarrassing, though, that you named your kids blah, blah, blah.
So I didn't even really answer it. I was like, what kid embarrassed me today? And I put it to my phone and it's the principal
Ooh.
offering me the job.
What? Oh my gosh. You silly goose. You've been made us wait an entire episode.
Yep.
And like the 2 hours we were hanging out beforehand.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Congratulations.
So I have a job. It's not official. I have to still
Yeah.
sign contracts and wait
Yeah,
for background
well,
checks, but-
and I mean, from when I worked at a school, it's funny because they're like, "Oh, it's official," but it's not technically official until the school board votes it in. But they go with whatever we say, more or less. So
Tiffany,
yeah,
what a
good for
journey. Like, I mean, this is inspirational. It is.
I'm pumped. So I'm really, really excited. But I was gonna say something,
So say it.
but I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
Cripes. You were excited.
let's recap what we were talking
You
about.
afraid to
got the
see her.
job at the place you wanted. Mm-hmm. You are
World
teaching two
studies.
subjects. Your kids are named blah, blah, blah.
That's their Christian name.
Yeah.
Middle name.
I'm
Blah.
just saying to name
I
your
like-
kids
I
after
like-
something.
Oh, that's
that
it.
Sex Missy Elliott so good that she calls out their name. I mean, anyway.
So I previously to this, like I'm a non-traditional student. I went back to school. I'm old and I'm tired and everything's hard and uncomfortable. And I have teenagers who constantly test my patience, and I'm just so proud of myself for getting through this like incredibly hard thing. And for a long time I was like, oh, I'm going to throw myself like a graduation party, and then it just felt like I can't do that. I'm student teaching. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I really want to. But as soon as I got that phone call, all of the relief I felt for I'm going to have an income again. So stay tuned.
Wonderful.
We're going to be celebrating.
I am so
Yeah,
happy for you.
definitely. We have to. That's so cool.
Party.
Now, in the Putnam household, we celebrate these type of events with Dairy Queen ice cream cake.
That sounds magnificent.
Yeah, we can do that. We can have that for the next pod if you want. Well, on that, I think we should wrap it up. Anyone else want to say something goodbyes?
Ugh, it's so late.
It is.
Why are we up so late?
It is late. We got a little late on recording
We started
tonight.
pretty late this time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was still.
It was
pretty-
the night about being kids, though. We were trying to stay up as late as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we thought how cool that would be.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we know it's not that cool.
No,
I gotta
it
get
is
home,
late
not.
and
drink my prune juice.
My butt hurts from this
There have
folding
been
chair.
days when I'm like to Amanda, I'm like, can I go to bed at 8:30? And she's like, sure. And I get so excited.
I kid you not. There was one day last week I looked at my watch and I was like, it's only 6:30. I can't get ready for bed yet.
But you can.
I know.
There are days where I get home from work at whatever time in the afternoon. I put my pajamas on and I'm like, yep, I'm in for the night.
Which of our friends recently said, you did, was it you that said the Dairy Queen for dinner?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so proud you took advantage of that.
I did.
Yep.
It was a long day at work. Didn't want to cook. Dairy Queen for dinner.
Yeah.
Compliments of Ryan.
Are we done recording?
No, we're still recording. I'm just sure that's a different.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
I love
different.
you guys.
Okay.
we love
Well, on
you
that
too.
note, we're going to head out and thank you all for listening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wicker Biscuit, a Podcast Ahoy production. The producers of Wicker Biscuit are Ryan LeMay, Gary Putnam, and Courtney Holub. Executive producer is Gary Putnam. Recording and editing was done by Gary Putnam. Check out our social media for updates on upcoming pods and for clips and other media referenced in this episode. Because sharing is caring, the links can be found in the episode note. Check it out! Thanks again from everyone at the Wicker Biscuit family.